Okay, I just want to show my setup for getting BoxAPIs to work. It's been a kind of a long road to get this going, but I'm going to try to build a webhooks into Box that talks back to my node.js application. So first things first, you got to go get curl. This is what I did as I went down to the download section of curl and down here on Windows and get one of these. I think I either got this one right here, 750.3. I think that's the one I'm using now. I was having so much trouble, and this one, I don't know if it's weird, but I definitely got one that had SSL or SSH. The biggest issue that I had was with some of the Windows command line taking out a bunch of the double quotes and stuff like that. So I struggled with that for a long time. That's why I was switching them around. From there, I built a little app.js file that doesn't really matter at this point because I'm still trying to get the Box APIs to work. And I just got that to work, so I wanted to go through this and make myself a note on how I got that to work. But curl was the first thing. Next thing was I got NGrok working, so I got my simple node app working. It's running here, and I've got NGrok working. So all these URLs will go away. They're all temporary. By the time I release this recording, they'll be gone. But when you run NGrok, it gives you a public URL and points at your local host. So it'll come back and access your local host, and then it'll keep all of this data. If I go to 440. It'll show me a whole interface, and I could rerun those. I could see the whole header. It was so helpful. It's one of the best tools out there for doing a lot of this web service application API stuff. So now that I got that working, I'm going to go back and look at the Box APIs that I was trying to get working. And the first one is this. Is some of the documentation I was working in. You got to go get a dev token. The way you do this is you edit your application. It shows you your application here, and then down low you've got this create a developer token. You take that and you save it right here in your. I save this dev token, and I've got it used in almost every URL. It's part of the JSON in the URLs, so I save that. And when I get a new one, they only last for an hour. When I get a new one, I just go Control F with Notepad++. I then take the new one and I replace it here, and I say replace all, and it goes through and wholesale replaces them all. The first URL I was just getting to work with curl was the test URL. You can get this off the page. The big thing here was this -k. That's what one thing I was struggling with. -k allows you to do it without SSL, or just doesn't worry. It just does it over SSL, but it doesn't verify the for dev purpose. You don't have to verify the certificates and stuff like that. So that's done. It returns like what files are there. I've got some files. I got like one, I don't know, just one box note. No, do I have anything in there? So here's the folder that I'm using, this webhooks. I've got some kind of invoice in there. That's what I was going to try to process. And then once I got that, I'm trying to set up the webhook, which just took forever. Mostly it was these double quotes and stuff like that in the JSON. So this is how they tell you to set it up. But what I ended up having to do is taking that JSON, putting it in a separate file. Here's the file. I just took the JSON and put it in this curl setup.txt. And then otherwise the command line just munges all that stuff up. Need a better command line. Bash would be so much nicer. But I'm using Windows, and that's just all there is to it. So I can use both, but right now I'm stuck in front of Windows, so that's what I'm using. You call curl, and on the end you give it this -d, but you say @ with the file name, and that'll substitute. And it comes back with some JSON, and this is the number you need, this 366. This is the ID for the actual webhook, and that's what I'm going to use in my context. That's what's going to be sent over to my application. So that's going to come through this NGrok. It's going to hit my local app server, and then I can process the files and do what I need to them. It's going to go back out to Box and get one of the files and then send it back. But anyway, that's how it works. That's how I got it working. It's kind of my workflow of how I've got it set up to use the Box APIs.